Okay, lights on. Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome everyone to the May 12th regularly scheduled business meeting of the Grosse Ile Township Board of Trustees. Let's call the meeting to order at 7:34, and let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the entire board is present. We'll conduct business as normal. First, I'm going to invite, before we get into the business of the meeting, I'm going to invite Chief Murdoch again, unfortunately. Not that it's you, it's just that you have to do it again, Chief.
Mr. Supervisor Board. As we all know, Pastor Aller passed away, and just to kind of give you a brief overview of what he contributed to public safety, he was the pastor for the fire side and the police side, and he was the guy that we went to whenever we had a bad call or, a baby passed away or something of that nature, and then he was always at somebody's funeral in the fire and police service. And like we always talked about, he never needed a microphone. He bellowed it out. So, but I'd like to take a moment of silence and just think about Reverend Allen and the contributions that he had made to the Township of Grosse Ile along with public safety. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. The picture of him on the cover of the Eel camera is just the way I remember him. That was just the way he was. So that was well done. All right, at this point, consider additions and deletions to the agenda. And I'm going to begin with, actually I have two requests. First, I'd like to add a presentation. Mr. Clark has some good news he'd like to add to the township for a brief presentation. Okay. Moved by Supervisor and seconded by Treasurer Van Oss.
Mr. Supervisor?
Let me get this. Do you want to comment on this addition?
No.
Okay, well, let's get a vote on the addition of the presentation. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None offered? Thank you. Mr. Posiask.
Yes, sir. The BPAC Complete Streets Policy Resolution, I'd like to remove it from discussion this evening.
Okay, moved by Trustee Posiask, seconded by Treasurer Van Oss to remove the BPAC discussion. Those in favor of deleting the discussion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that will be deleted. And I have one more late add that I would request the board add to the agenda as an action item, and that would be the authorization to sell abandoned property.
Support.
Okay, moved by Supervisor and seconded by Trustee Smith. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None offered. Any other additions, deletions to tonight's agenda? That'll be just a report item. Okay. Any other additions, deletions to the agenda? Okay, with none offered, those in favor of approving the agenda as amended, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The agenda stands amended. With this, we'll go to public. Oh, that's right. We have the presentation first. So, Mr. Clark.
Come on, Joel. Come on,
Woody Clark, open space. Every year twice a year we give out money from dump to junk. And this year we're going to give the money to Tails for $439.
Great. Thank you. Thanks very much, Woody. If I could introduce Roberta Hall. She's an original founding member of TAILS, the Animal Island League Shelter Group, and helped bring the Grosse Ile Animal Shelter to life here on the island. This is one of the beneficiaries of a donation like this. Her name's Etta. We think she's about 11 weeks old, a true surrender. And anyways, if anybody knows of anyone interested in a kitten to take home, she'll be a great addition to your family.
Etta needs a new home.
Etta. Thanks very much, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clark.
Well, thank you. And Mr. Clark, thank you for, I know that is hard work, and I know it'll be well spent by the volunteers at Tails. So, Mr. Clark, Ms. Cordes, Mrs. Hall, thank you all so much. Okay, that concludes our presentation. We'll move on to, now we'll get into public comment on the agenda items for tonight's meeting. Any public comment? Members of the public present who want to speak on tonight's agenda items? If none, then we'll move on to consent agenda.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion to approve consent agenda 14-043, which is the approval of the minutes of the April 28th, 2014 regular meeting, and the approval of check register dated May 9th, 2014, and authorization to process and distribute payments through May 30th, 2014.
Support.
Okay, moved by Treasurer Van Oss, seconded by Trustee Budney. Any discussion among the board on the consent agenda? Okay, with none offered, those in favor of approving the consent agenda as published, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None offered. The consent agenda stands approved. Moving to action items, and I'm going to ask Clerk Ranka to introduce the first item.
Mr. Supervisor, I move to approve the attached ballot language for millage renewal for the police department operations to be placed in the August 5th, 2014 ballot.
Support.
Okay, moved by Clerk Ranka, seconded by Treasurer Van Oss.
And I'll just read the millage language here really quickly. It says, shall the expired previous voted increase in tax limitation imposed under Article 9, Section 6 of the Michigan Constitution in Grosville Township of 1 mil, that's $1 per $1,000 of taxable value, be renewed and continued at 1 mil per $1,000 of taxable value and levied for 5 years from 2014 through 2018 inclusive, to provide funds for the purpose of maintaining law enforcement operations within the Township of Grosville, specifically for police department funds, raising an estimated $565,000 in the first calendar year of the millage is levied.
Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion? I'll just add that the Township Attorney did review the millage language, and it's approved as published. Any discussion among the board on this police millage? Any further history on it?
There are basically 5 millages for the police department. Each of them are 5-year millage, are 5-year mills, and are incremental or instrumental in the operations of the police department. This one is 5 years, and it is a renewal.
Okay, when it says 5 mills, we have 3 that are dedicated police only, and that money can be spent nowhere else. And then we do fund the police personally out of the general fund. So, but anyway, this millage, these dollars go only to the police department, and if I do say so myself, helps keep us the safest city in Michigan.
Mr. Supervisor, I just have a question.
Mr. Budney.
Is there anything being done to try and get these millages put together? I've had a number of people come to me and say, we just vote, we just gave the police something, we're doing it again. And they're getting confused by all this. So I'm just wondering if there's anything we can do.
Yeah, it's definitely a concern of the police commission. We've tried to get these together because there's a couple that expire back to back, and then there's several years with nothing, and then they expire back to back. So we've definitely attempted to do that, and right now this is part of the course to get that in the right time frame.
Yeah, my concern is that people say, wait, we just did this and we're not doing it again, not knowing what they're really doing.
So would it be your objective to get it to one? If we got all the police on one millage, it would be about should be
almost 575, I think it is, but I don't know. My concern is that they get mixed up and they say, we just did it last year, why are we doing it again? I thought it was 5 years, and they're not understanding it. That's all.
Okay. Ms. Smith.
Yeah, and on the flip side of that is if you put all of it in front of them and then they don't pass it, then it's like,
well,
whoa.
No, you're right. That is. I'm just concerned.
Yeah.
That they wouldn't vote for it because of that.
Yeah, no, Mr. Bundy, it's a valid concern. It's one that we've been arguing with now, or not arguing, but trying to tackle for several years. And it's just the way they're timed and the way you get either renewals or new ones. It's a lot easier said than done.
Right.
I would, in the perfect world, we would have police millages, all of the police department fully funded from police-only millages and not out of the general fund. That's good. That would be, with the way millages come and go, then the different staggered timing. The advantage I see again, it's up to us to convince the residents, why things are the way they are, or why we're doing business. If we lose one, we can make adjustments. It'll be tough, and I hope we don't have to. But if we lose them all, which could
it'd be really tough.
A big adjustment. Mr. Van Oss?
I just want to make a comment on the comments, is that I believe that it's tradition that we go to the township voters for police and fire millages. I believe by law, we would be authorized to levy a public safety millage that would be far in excess of what we're levying right now. We have chosen not to do this in this township.
I'm not sure how, I think we can only levy 1 mil? Or up to 10, that's right. So, yeah, but
that's my point.
Yes.
You know, we've asked everybody incrementally that we need this to do what we do, and we've let the township voters make that decision. They've always made what I would consider the right decision personally. And that's how it kind of gets staggered, because we're asking. We're asking you, we're telling you what we want it for, and the police department is telling you what they want it for, and you're approving it, and you're going along with it. I do think that at some point in time, we need to get those millages combined so that it's not as confusing, but we're way below what we would be authorized to levy as a township for public safety if we chose to do it that way.
Very good point, thank you, sir. Other comments from the board? All right, with none offered, those in favor of, let's see, to approve the previously read ballot language for millage renewal for the police department, amount of 1 mil for 5 years, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None offered. We're doing this tonight because we've got it, it's going to be on the August primary, and Wayne County needs a lot of lead time, so that's why it's on the, we're approving the ballot language tonight for a referendum in August. All right, action item number 2, I'll ask Mr. Malvesto.
Mr. Supervisor, the proposed motion is to approve the attached ballot language for the millage renewal for the fire department operations to be placed on the August 5th ballot, 2014.
Support. Okay, I think Treasurer beat you to it, so we'll go with moved by Trustee Malvesto and seconded by Treasurer Van Oss to add the proposed fire millage. And if you would please read the ballot language.
I'll be happy to. Shall the expired previous voted increase in the tax limitation imposed under Article 9, Section 6 of the Michigan Constitution in Grosio Township of 1.5 mils, which is the equivalent of $1.50 per $1,000 of taxable value, be renewed and continued at 1.5 mils, which is $1.50 per $1,000 of taxable value, and levied for 5 years from 2014 through 2018, inclusive, to provide funds for the purpose of providing funds to operate the Township Fire Department, raising an estimated $847,500 in the first calendar year. The millage will be leveled. The millage is levied.
Okay, discussion among the board. I'll just elaborate a little on this. This is the second half, or the other half of the public safety team. There are no other tax dollars that go to support the fire department. This is no general fund dollars migrating to the fire department. This is how we fund our fire department. And personally, I think we get a lot of return for the dollar. I see these guys in action. Other questions, comments from the board? Well, with none offered, those, I mean, what can we say? They're there within minutes, they do the job, and again, funded solely out of a millage. I'm going to move this along quickly while I can still talk. Okay, so those in favor of approving the attached or the previously read ballot language for millage renewal for the fire department, 1.5 mils, to be placed on the August 5th, 2014 ballot, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None offered. This too has been approved by the millage language has been approved by the township attorney, so I think we go to Wayne County with this. Thank you very much. We'll move on to action item number 3. Fireworks, Mrs. Smith.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I would like to make a motion based on the recommendation of the Grosio Township. I'm reading the previous one, never mind. Wait a minute, where is it? Yeah, okay, yeah, that's it. Based on the recommendation of the Grosio Township Fire Marshal to grant a fireworks permit to Ace Pyro LLC to provide a public fireworks display on Friday, May 30th, 2014, with a rain date of Saturday, May 31st, 2014.
Okay, moved by trustee Smith, seconded by trustee Buddy.
Yeah. And
Tell us more.
Well, this is just an annual event, and this is basically an internal permitting process, correct? So, I don't know, Duncan or Russ, if you have anything else to add, but this is just the fire marshal's way of saying, you're good to go ahead and have it. One of the things that I did want to point out is on page 32 of the packet, there was an accident insertion of the wrong certificate of liability insurance. I did provide you guys with the appropriate one earlier this evening, so you should have that in front of you. But that is basically it.
Okay, other questions or comments for Mrs. Smith? All right, with none offered, those in favor of, based on the recommendation of the fire marshal to grant the fireworks permit to Ace Pyro LLC, provide a public fireworks display on Friday, May 30th, 2014, with a rain date of Saturday, May 31st, 2014, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered. More fireworks. Okay, that motion is approved. We'll move on to action item number 4, the summer tax levy. Mr. Treasurer.
Mr. Supervisor, I would like to make a motion for a resolution by the Township Board of Trustees that there be levied on the taxable values of the township for the year of 2014 for the tax billing period of summer 2014, a tax of 4.5 mils on the taxable value thereof, said value being $563,780,603.
Support.
Okay, moved by Treasurer Vanoff, seconded by Trustee Posiask.
This millage is basically the millage that covers the SES debt levy funded for the sewer reconstruction project passed by the township voters on November 6, 2014. There's a history of the levy. From 2002, it was 0.5, 2003, 0.65, 4, 2.25, 5, 3.50, same 6, 2007 is 3.90, 2008, 3.90, 2009, 3.90, as well as 10, and then 4.5 from 2011 and 2014. And the reason mainly for the variance is the taxable value of the properties on the island. As the taxable values dropped, or as the collection on taxable value dropped, the debt remained the same, so the existing houses had to pay more.
Okay, discussion on this millage from the board, among the board.
Just a quick question. Mr. Clark. I'm sorry, reading it. So this is going to be with us until 2021?
I believe that.
Yeah.
They'll run out, they were sold in 3 separate issues, and it'll be like 22, 23, 24, I think is what
Third,
I
and a third. Well, it's not quite a third.
Yeah.
It's staggered, though.
So 10 more years of this unfunded state mandate for a new sewer system.
Right.
So far. I'm laughing on the outside. Any other questions, comments from the board? All right. With none offered, those in favor of approving the levy of 4.5 mils for the summer tax period 2014, again, 4.5 mils for the sanitary sewer evaluation system, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None offered. That will be so levied. And actually, number 5, the one we added on the property sale, Mr. Malvesto.
Mr. Supervisor, the proposed action is to authorize Grosseal Township Chief of Police to sell property abandoned at the Water's Edge Marina.
Support.
Okay, moved by trustee Malvesto, seconded by trustee Smith, and our township attorney asked to get this on the agenda tonight, and I'll let him give us some background on what we're doing.
Thank you for indulging me on the time frame of this request. I'm trying to help Tim, as those involved understand this has been going on now for close to a year. So to give you a little background on what's going on, there were last year a few boats at the marina that had not paid dockage fees, removal fees, storage fees, those types of things. We were able to get a couple of them to come current with the situation. 2 boats remained. There are 2 statutes that come into effect. The first is the Michigan Marina and Boatyard Storage Lien Act. Under that act, we provided notice to the last known owners of the property that they had in fact failed to pay and that the township was placing a lien on their boat. Under that statute, 6 months has to expire before the township can take any further action. Okay, so that was on July 25th of last year. During that time, our office also made multiple calls and attempts to contact the last known owners of the property, anybody that we thought may have known. We spoke with Tim, got us information on anybody that might have known who the owner was. We were unable to make any contact with anyone on this. No one ever contacted trying to come current on the bill or make any types of arrangements or anything else. In that same period of time, the stolen or abandoned property statute comes into effect. Under that statute, for a period of if property is left abandoned for a period of 6 months, the chief of police is entitled to notify the township of the fact. That came in, so since the 6 months is running under the Lien Act, while we're waiting, the 6 months goes by, it becomes very clear to us that nobody wants any interest in the two boats. We're there. Chief Porcerelli and I spoke back in March with Tim, talked about the possibility of proceeding under an abandoned statute from the perspective of we want to get the boats out of there so we can start collecting, make 2 more spots available for people that want to pay for the services. There may be more money available under the Michigan Marine Boatyard Storage Lien Act, but there's some additional costs as well. After the 60 days expires, I need to go to the Secretary of State, obtain additional information, do another set of notices, go through that process as well. That's kind of why, in talking with Tim and members of the commission, we decided to go with the stolen and abandoned property. The 6 months expired in February. In early March, we started talking about following through with what we were entitled to do then. The chief felt comfortable with handling the sale himself because he's handled several other for that similar types of property. We talked about that. That kicked in. The additional 60-day requirement that's in place, we're now last week past the 60-day requirement, so now we can proceed. So what the request is to authorize Chief Porcerelli under the Stolen or Abandoned Property Act to sell a property, and there is a 1973 Cal 25-foot sailboat and a 1980 Seidelman 25-foot sailboat. And the action would be to require him to proceed with the sale under the Stolen and Abandoned Property Act, which spells out specifically what he needs to do. And the chief and I already talked about that procedure, and we will make sure combined together that it gets complied with.
Now, do you recommend we add Abandoned Property Act verbiage to the action?
It's a state requirement. He can't proceed without it. So as long as you authorize, you ask me, so
would that be a requirement in the action item, or is that just a procedure by law if we're going to sell it?
Well, I would suggest maybe then you amend to include sell it pursuant to the Stolen or Abandoned Property Act. And again, that's Sharon, I apologize. That's me for coming up with this information later.
Okay, so I will to authorize Groseal Township Chief of the Police to sell under the Stolen
or Abandoned Property Act.
To sell under the Stolen or Abandoned Property Act. We just say
property at Water's Edge Marina.
Okay.
And that's more than sufficient because I need to make sure that we're in full compliance with the act, otherwise notice-wise and everything else, okay. Any questions?
To authorize Groseal Township Chief of Police to sell under the Stolen or Abandoned Property Act, property abandoned at Water's Edge Marina.
Good with that? All right, we're legal on that. Discussion among the board.
Where do the funds for this sale get deposited?
Under the Act, the funds of the sale need to go into the general fund, and specifically identified. The owner actually has 6 months to claim the property, in which case if somebody shows up, I have every intention of serving them with papers for breach of contract action for failure to pay the amount due. The chief of police gets to deduct the cost of the sale from the money that goes into the fund immediately. The bills can't be recovered.
Other questions for Mr. Sordi?
Not a question, but just for some clarification. The fact that these boats continue to be left at water's edge takes up space that we would normally be able to generate other funds through storage where people actually pay. So we need to get them off-site. Plus, it's my direction, working with Tim Rooney, we want to continue to develop and improve the overall facility, Water's Edge in general, and that includes the marina. And we don't want to get the nickname of a dry rot marina. So we want to clean it up, we want to make it presentable, and we want to make it attractive so more people will wish to keep their boats down there. And we're doing the same thing up on top as well in the Water's Edge facility itself. So we just want to get them off-site.
Absolutely, and we've Tim and I are continuing to develop a program whereby notices go out automatically, because it's been determined, you get a 6-month and then another 60-day notice requirement on these things, and it takes some time to get the lien in place. So we're developing a program so that if somebody chooses not to pay the fees that they sign a contract to pay, that we'll put those in place, and we can start the clock ticking a lot earlier on those.
Just one question. Are we going to get the boats out? Where are we going to put the boats while we're waiting for the owner to claim them? Can they claim the boats, or?
Can the owners claim the boats? No, all we have to do is provide notice, give 5 days prior notice of the sale. Where our plans are to get them out of there.
Okay. Good.
The money that we collect from the sale after the pros, that gets retained.
Got it.
Okay, and it's, as anybody who sold boats know, this is the time to sell boats. So, we tend to have the possibility of netting more than if we were trying to sell them in September.
So it would have been better in May of 2013, but...
Well,
speaking from experience, any time's a good time to sell a boat.
True.
Okay. Other questions, comments on this? Let's get these things moved. Those in favor of proceeding with the sale of the boats under the Stolen or Abandoned Property Act from the Water's Edge Marina, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered. Let's get rid of them.
Thank you.
Hey, I know you've been working diligently on moving forward with that. So, that concludes our action items for tonight. Let's move on to reports. I'm going to start with the clerk's report. Clerk Rankin.
Mr. Supervisor. Clerk's report is pretty brief tonight. We had a study session before the meeting today at 6:30 for commissions and committees to review minute-taking procedures. Information was passed out. We had maybe 24 people in attendance, and appreciate the people who came. If you are a member of a commission or committee and would like the information, please stop by the Township's office, or you can email myself or Sharon Gray, and we can get the packets of information to you.
Okay. Thank you, Clerk Rankin. Mr. Treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The April investment report is not completed at this time. It will be online on my website within a week. So please visit that, and you can check out where all the investments are. All 2013 unpaid property tax bills are now delinquent and must be paid at Wayne County. If you are one of those people and you want to know what the process is, you can contact Annette. There's a process where you can pay these by phone or by credit card over the mail. So. And dog park passes and licenses are available in my office. And I believe we have a Commerce Park meeting third Monday of this week. And that's it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Treasurer. We'll move on to trustee reports. And I'll start with Mr. Modesto.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd just like to bring before the board, as part of my report, in a prior board meeting, the board voted to approve the purchase of a John Deere 4052R compact utility tractor. at a purchase price of $27,350.32. And this was, the pricing came through the State of Michigan bidding program contract. We went to place the order, and there are no longer any 2013s available, which means we have to go to a 2014. There will be an increase in price based on, most of it is emissions regulations that are imposed in diesel engines, and it's going to be an additional cost of $1,828, which is less than 2% of the original approved bid. So the price of this tractor will now be $29,178.32. Had there been a price reduction of $1,800, we probably wouldn't be speaking to this, but I wanted to make it very clear that our hands are tied. It still falls under the State of Michigan bidding program, and I just want the entire board and township to understand what we're forced to do and why we're doing it. Other than that, I don't have anything to add.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Malvesto. Since it does represent a change, although a slight one, is there any comment from the board on the pricing addendum on this tractor?
Just the fact, Tom, it still falls within what the budget was, right?
Yes, it still falls within the budget, so we're fine there.
Just appreciate the transparency.
Well, you're welcome. We just want to make it very clear that we don't have a choice in this. One of the choices is we need a new tractor. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Malvesto. Mr. Budney.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Very quickly, we have our DPS meeting tomorrow. We did do our road tours previously, and we will be discussing that. So I know that I'm sure there's going to be at least 2 people show up for that meeting. So it's always one of our best. No ZBA this month, and just on another item to show what a wonderful place Groseal is to live, the Washington Post does a thing each year recognizing the most challenging high schools. By most challenging, they mean getting the students ready for college and being able to go to college and do well. And Groseal High School made the list this year. There's 22,000 public school districts in the country. The list was 2,000, so about 10% made this list. Groseal was 1831. But the point being that is another plus for us, and just another reason to raise a family on Groseal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Budney. Move on, Mr. Prosiask.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Our next meeting for the BPAC will be on the 3rd Tuesday of this month, and I'd like to brag on them and let them strut their stuff a little bit about Bike to School Day the other day. If anybody was out that morning, it was a sea of bicycles coming down the paths. The kids were having fun, and we had a great deal of positive feedback from parents, from kids, from schools, and from some residents. And so the way that this committee works on things like this just never ceases to amaze me. Special cheers to Brian Pollock, and especially to Aaron Himmelsbach, who was the one that orchestrated most of that. The bricks are on sale for the memorial for the fountain, which we will be placing on Grill Road. Some bricks have been sold. Thank you, Lauren. And we have plenty available. We will make a pad as big as you want to make bricks. So please take a chance. Take a minute to grab an application at Carol's desk on the first floor, or check it out online. $50 for a brick to memorize or memorialize your family or your friends would be a nice touch, something that's going to be there for a long, long time. Just a little bit more bragging. The bridges, thank you, Lorinda. Lorinda Beneteau has been helping get our wooden bridges cleaned and resurfaced. We want to be looking real good come Island Fest, and I think that that's going to happen. She tells me they're working from the south-north, and so we should see them all done relatively soon. As far as the Open Space Committee, we had a town hall meeting last week. It was kind of lightly attended, but would certainly like to encourage everyone to come to the next one, which will be June 3rd at 7 o'clock. I'm going to talk to you about open space and how you want to deal with it. Please come down and spend some time with us. It's your money, it's your open space. We need your input. And finally, I'd like to make a shout out to those who are out there this evening clearing sewers in their subdivision. The Potawatomi sub, I went through and found at least 10 people, rakes in hand, pulling trash away from the sewer system to make the roads drain. People like Michael Sullivan, for example, who was out there in one of the busier intersections, pulling leaves as fast as he could. So thank you, Groseal. The kind of people that you are is what makes Groseal what it is. It's all for me.
Thank you, Mr. Posiask. And Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Next Communications Commission meeting is this Wednesday, the 14th at 7 p.m. Chairwoman Kathy Walker had just shown a revised draft of the creative, so we're going to be meeting and talking about that on Wednesday. Hopefully this will be possibly the last one and we can move forward with that. Festival Commission meeting, May 21st at 7 p.m. That's our last one that's planned before Island Fest. And Island Fest is actually only 18 days away. It's hard to believe. It's been a lot of planning and a lot of work. This past Saturday, we actually had a painting party here at the hangar where we were putting on a coat of primer on these Key West style signs that we're going to use for directional around the festival, so it's going to be really cool. And what we've done is we've partnered with the local Girl Scout troop, and they're going to be finishing off the creative on those, so it's good to get some other people involved with their artistic talents. But at this time, I actually would like to invite Chad Novak, who's the chair of the Festival Commission, up to give a brief overview of what's going to transpire and give us a little bit of update. So, Chad, thank you for coming.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Chad Novak.
And you know how this goes, so...
Oh, Chad,
2 minutes.
that's not good, is it? He said put it in front of the camera and everybody could see it. Well, I'm going to briefly run down some great things we got going on. The festival is the 30th, 31st, and June 1st, which, like Lauren says, just 2 weeks away. The hours, Friday, are 4 in the afternoon till midnight, Saturday, 11 a.m. till midnight, and Sunday from 9 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. The parade takes place Saturday, like it does every year during festival, at 10 a.m. on Macomb Street. This year, inside the hangar, we're going to have the marketplace. We've got some amazing crafters, some really cool vendors, and some really neat, big things going on in there, which I'm sworn to secrecy right now about that. For the adrenaline junkies, we have the Fast Track exotic cars, and as of this morning, they were test driving a third one that I believe is a Porsche that they're going to be bringing with the Lamborghini and whatever the other ones they have. So. Their hours are a little different. You can go to the website and there'll be updates every other day. Every day, we're always changing things on that website. You can pre-register with Fast Track, and they can get your time slot guaranteed during their festival hours, which I said are different. They start a little earlier in the morning. Monster truck rides are available again this year. They're like $10. You get 8, 9 people in the back of that. They strap you in, and it's just safety all the way. We got a top-notch carnival with everything from kiddie rides, and we have something new coming this year that I hear is an 8.5 on the puke factor that is supposed to be really good with the teenagers and everything. Our entertainment lineup is the best we've seen in a long time. Saturday night, we got 50 Amp Fuse coming back. 50 Amps kicking off their big summer tour with us for festival, which is Saturday the 31st. And opening up for 50 Amp Fuse is Groseal's own Holland Mercy. So we've secured them to open for 50 Amp Fuse on Saturday. That brings the fireworks back to Friday night, like we did the previous years, except last year. Friday night opening for the fireworks will be the DR5. They're returning. This is their 3rd or 4th year, I believe. They're a great cover band, rock and roll cover band. That will be on Friday night. All right, where are we going here? Lauren, look how professional I am with all my minutes here. Along with the entertainment. Oh, okay, so the fireworks. Also, there are VIP tickets still available for the fireworks. They're $60. if you want to come and have a chicken wing and some wine and have a VIP seating, it'll be great for that. Along with our musical lineup, we have the children's choir, the dance troupe, the Jazzapalooza, and Sunday's awesome A&R showcase, which is a lot of young middle school, high school people will be performing for the A&R showcase. The awesome food. KFC is doing the steak dinners again. The price is $15 for adults. It's different than what it says in the ads, but I told them I'd give them a shout out. Yay guys, KFC, here you go. And the pancake breakfast will only be offered on Sunday, not Saturday morning like it says. It's Sunday only. They will have coffee, high-end coffee bar, donuts and pastries and stuff like that, and they're also bringing lunch menu to this year's festival. So the Knights of Columbus are offering lunch and the steak dinner Friday and Saturday, and then pancake breakfast Sunday. With that, along with the VFW beer tent, I heard this mentioned a meeting or two ago that they are also committed to bringing 2 craft beers. So they'll have the standard Buds or Millers, and then 2 crafts above and beyond, which I know was a good sales pitch for them. They were really excited. And along with that, I want to give a shout out to the car show. We have a new company running the car show. We got a couple new sponsors. They're, oh, sorry, got somebody squealing back there. Make sure my shirt's pulled down there. Car show Saturday. They're going to be in the parade Saturday morning, and then 11 a.m. from 11 to 4, they're going to be down here. I know where that camera hits me back here, all right? And I got no spray on this spot here. So the car show is going to be so great. We've got 4 special awards going out. We got the trustee award, we got the supervisor award, the commissioner award, and the safety award, which is Chief Borsarelli. With that, we have a few new things. The beach, which is finally taking wings and flying on its own after a lot of hee-haw going around about this, but we're bringing in some sand. We're putting a big tent on the north side of the hangar. During the day, we're going to have island calypso type music. In the evening, the car show is going to utilize it, like I said, Saturday from noon to 4. Once it starts getting a little dusty outside, we're going to have some techno going on with a different age bracket. I hate to say it, but the old timers can go for 50 amp views. There is a niche for the young ones to go to the beach area. Also new this year is the historical libation station, which will be located inside the hangar, and they will be selling mixed beverages, such as the Lighthouse Punch, like the Zug Island Tea, which is like some brown color or something like that. But you can take that beverage, and you'll be able to walk out to the tent here and enjoy it, also in the hangar and enjoy it. So that's the new historical thing. You got to have wristbands for both those areas. The VFW tent and the historical area are both 21 and over areas. The wristband area is going to be rocking that whole weekend, I'm sure. We still need volunteers. You can sign up at volunteers.com on the festival website. Please do so. We need volunteers. It's a simple process. I see Brian did it. Can't be that hard, right? No disrespect, but it's email address, and boom, you are in that site. Volunteerspot.com. With that, I'd like to thank Lauren, Julie Cordes, Bridget Hurst, Nicole Feeney, Woody Clark, Dave Zilla, Ian Darsnick, Bill Moreau, and big props to Tim Rooney, because I'll tell you, Tim, man, I don't know how you did this all these years. And I only have that much hair missing so far. And Annette and Gail at the rec department, those girls down there, Annette and Gail are just, and you, Ian. So once again, thank you. Any questions, contact the rec department. I can give you Tim's cell phone number. Oh, no, I can't. So, all right, with that being said, we all good. Festival coming up, 30 years.
Chad?
Thank you, Chad.
15 days away. Oh, you're not done yet. You got.
Oh, okay. Questions?
Yeah, I've been saving up for 3 years. Are you doing a Warbird this year?
What is it?
The Warbird flights.
The Warbird. Is that
Warbirds? The aircraft.
Where's Mike Duker? I was told, what is that big plane they're bringing in? And they are doing rides in a different plane. That's not the one they're giving the rides in, but they are doing plane rides. Is that what your question?
Yeah, they've had the Warbird rides for the last few years. I've been saving up. I didn't want to miss it.
Tom, I'll take you up on my plane. I'll take you mine.
But the other thing, Chad, I've heard nothing but but great reviews. People, are really looking forward to this year. They heard what you're doing, the changes,
Thank you.
I've heard nothing but great.
We're sticking to some traditional stuff. We got a lot of new things going on, a new vibe for festival, and hopefully this will be a preview to what's going to come in 2015, because this is like, the 2015 is going to be a two, but let's get through 2014 and have a great time.
Well, I'm sure you guys aren't going to let us down.
And I didn't mean to offend anybody up there. It's all good. I'm throwing a party. I'm not running for office. Anybody else?
So you better go away quick.
A Warbird answer?
The Warbird information. Their SNJ trainers will be there, which is a World War II trainer for rides. And they were planning, but I don't know if it has been confirmed, Yankee Air Museum might be doing a heritage flight, I believe is what it's called. They'll fly here, pick people up, and take them back. So that's a possibility, and I can get you that information. I'm not aware of it being confirmed at this time, but it was in the planning stages.
And Tom, I'd like to see you in one of those race cars doing 140 down that runway.
You get in one, I'll get in the other, and if we can fit it.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you, Chad.
Thank you, Mr. Novak.
That's it for...
All right, thank you, Ms. Smith. I'll try to get through. I've got a lot of odds and ends here on the supervisor's report. Busy weekend coming, but first of all, Monday after Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day to everyone out, all the moms out there. It was your day. I hope you all enjoyed it. My mother had one, which is going to lead to some other announcements, one of many rules, but when it comes to planting and gardening, you didn't plant anything till after Mother's Day in Michigan because you just never knew it. You're always 90% safe if you wait until after Mother's Day. Well, it is come and gone, so gets me into several announcements. Herb Fest, Saturday, May 17th. That's this coming Saturday at Centennial Farm from 9 to 2. Plant sale, baked goods, spices, condiments, also children's garden crafts and storytelling. So that's coming up at Centennial Farm. Also this Saturday, Animal Shelter Open House, Saturday, May 17th at Centennial Farm. Come and view the many adoptable pets that are available. We saw one tonight. The Grosse Ile Garden Club Annual Perennial Exchange will be on Saturday, May 17th at the VFW on Macomb Street. Doors open at 8:30, and the exchange begins at 9:30. So feel free to, it's time. I know you've waited for a while, but start planning and get the island spruced up, make your yards look good and your neighbors jealous. Other odds and ends, the garage sale is still coming up. The island-wide garage sale for Friday and Saturday, August 22nd and 23rd. There are flyers available for that. Household Hazardous Waste Collection, June 28th at the Wayne County Community College in Belleville. That is the closest one, the nearest one coming, so there are flyers for that also for those batteries and paint thinners and naphtha and that stuff you really don't want to have in your garage anymore. May 26th, Memorial Day, Island Roadrunners Memorial Day Run. Events begin at 9 a.m. For information, call 282-1101 or visit islandroadrunners.com. Closer to home, June 14th, Fire Department golf outing to benefit the Grosse Ile firefighters. Russ, I hope you have 2 tickets left for me. I've been meaning to get the check over to you. Anyway, June 14th, West Shore Golf and Country Club. How much are the tickets, Russ? $100, 18 holes, golf. Dinner, refreshments at West Shore, still a beautiful club. Call 645-5658 for tickets and information. You got the information you needed. Come out and play golf with your favorite firefighters. And let's see, just got this from Downriver Community Conference. It's a new service office to assist veterans. Let's see, the new Veterans Service Office to be located in the Downriver Community Conference Building in Southgate, Michigan. The DCC is pleased to announce that the American Legion will have a service officer at the DCC building 1 day a week. That's Thursdays, beginning May 15th through June of 2014 from, I guess it's only, what, two or three Thursdays. Anyway, maybe through all of June. I'll get more information. Anyway, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. in room 162. The DCC building is located at 15100 North Line Road in Southgate, Michigan, 48195. They do not schedule appointments. Be on a first-come, first-served basis with a sign-up sheet. Questions may be directed to the American Legion office at area 313-964-6640. This Veteran Service Office will be a one-stop shop for veteran service needs, including pension, disability, compensation claims, seniors, and current military assistant. Hoping to have a Veterans Trust Fund agent for assisting veterans within the next 2 months. So it's a service offered by DC Downriver Community Conference. We are a member. And let's see. Do you have your copy of Channels? Do you have your edition? I think Mrs. Posey has put some in the back of the room. I hope you're all impressed as I was with the new edition of Channels. You should have gotten it in the mail if you can put the camera on this. And we have some in the back of the room. What a great publication. I think Mrs. Smith had a little to do with that, and she should be applauded. The rec department.
I would say the rec department.
And Mr. Rooney. So it's just a beautiful document, full of information. You should have them at home. Read through them, and it's just a lot of good stuff. Plus, we have the Centennial logo on it, so that's going to be after Island Fest. And last. Memorial Day, all township offices will be closed Monday, May 26, 2014 for Memorial Day. They will be open on Friday, May 23rd, and Tuesday, May 27th, normal hours 8 to 5. Have a safe and happy holiday, and this will be our last meeting in May. So we'll see you again on June 9th. That concludes my report. Mr. Dale, Mr. Ream, do you have any, did I leave any stone unturned? Yes, I did.
Item number 1, there are no legal fees in the check register. Mr. Clark? I had listed on the agenda the Grosio Alliance for the Arts request for a mural. And it is in the planning stages, if you will. I met with Pam Frucci, who's the vice president for the Alliance for the Arts, and they're requesting approval for a mural, and right now the requested location is in the Grosio Hardware, and the mural will be a historic painting that will be chosen by through a contest. And what they're planning on doing is having this done throughout the summer and then unveiled as part of the 100-year celebration. And this is the east wall of the Grosio Hardware. We're not aware of sizes. We're in the process of waiting for additional information. Now, from a review standpoint, how do you review a mural? Is it a sign? Well, under the sign ordinance, it would not be permitted, would require variances with zoning board appeals. There's no advertising. We had similar requests in the past that wanted to be advertising murals for organizations and to promote Grosio, but that definitely was considered advertising. So at this point in time, what the preliminary proposal is, it's strictly an art contest depicted for the history of Grosio. No advertising of any nature whatsoever. So myself and Brian Borden, our planner, discussed this item with the chairman of the Planning Commission and chairman of the Zoning Board of Appeals, and we believe we came up with a solution that would avoid the Zoning Board of Appeals review and amending ordinances, that we would have a temporary use permit that we would bring to this board for your approval, which would involve size requirements, time frames, maintenance requirements, because obviously any mural type sign, if you will, over time will become faded. There's maintenance issues. How will this be handled? So the Alliance for the Arts are putting together a lot of these items, and the good news that we believe we administratively can address this without going to Zoning Board of Appeals, but that's still all depending. So we're putting this information together. We expect to receive the specifics in the next week, and we would ask that the board share any thoughts or comments with me now or later, either by phone, in person, via email. So as we put this information together, we can try to address any of your concerns, and then at a following board meeting, we would come to you requesting some type of action. But again, we think that it would involve just those types of things, a time frame, a maintenance requirement, size requirement, and the committee that is being put together to review these artists and choose the actual historic mural will be made up of the property owner, Alliance for the Arts people, and a planning commissioner and a zoning board member. So they're involving these township groups. So any comments or questions, I will answer or get the information if I don't have it. So.
Just a question, yes, sir. If the board was to approve it, would the board ultimately have final approval of the mural? If we approve the concept of doing this, go ahead and doing it, and then they go through the process of what do I want to say here?
Selecting the artist.
The mural.
Yeah.
Will the board have a final say?
The Alliance for the Arts, I don't believe they were requesting that the board pick the winner. They wanted the committee to pick the winner.
Right. I mean, once the committee picks a winner, would it still come to the board for a final approval?
We can do so. We can communicate that to you if that's a desire, definitely.
Just a question.
Okay. Not proposed.
I'm involved in that project, too.
I'm shocked.
I know about the mural and everything.
Yeah.
Bill's good with it and all that stuff, and it's just a matter of,
Mr. Radka.
So just from a feedback standpoint, I mean, something like this sounds like, oh, what a great idea. How could anything be bad with something like this? But my only concern is, as you brought up, is maintenance. So how long is temporary? What's the time frame, and what's the plan to revert back to normal, or is there a plan to revert back to normal? You don't have to answer now, but just
certainly. And that's something we're researching to see how these are. A mural would be dealt with or handled in other communities, other ordinances, and our planner has some experience with that, so they're looking at a couple different options right now. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. William. That will conclude the comments and the action items. We'll open up to public comment now. Members of the public present? Mr. Clark.
I got an article here, this for women, or maybe some men too, I don't know. Thermograms are safe and accurate, reliable alternative to mammograms. Also, EPA, I read, that approves the Agent Orange for GMO crops. So you just go out there and buy your vegetables and you'll have some Agent Orange with it. You were talking earlier about blight down at Water's Edge, and you're saying clean it up, and you go through a service, and we got the lawyer here, and we're going through the business. So how come we can't do the rest of the island? Like the ones that never move, never. Can we do anything with those? We've been talking about this and talking and talking and talking. When are we going to get off the dime?
We are behind. I admit we are behind. We need to move forward with that. Start with the worst and start cleaning up.
Yeah, because you've got some of these areas been sitting here 15 to 20 years.
And we have been reviewing the ordinances. I haven't seen any proposed changes. We have ordinances. We either enforce them or we rescind them. So you're right, Mr. Clark. You're right.
Okay, so we're going to see some action soon.
You and I will go out and drive around and see what needs to be cleaned up first.
You know which ones need to be cleaned up.
I do.
All you got to do is go down your street.
My South Point, not my street, please.
Close to your street.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Other comments from the public present? Okay, with none offered, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Budney, seconded by Mrs. Smith. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, none offered. We'll call the meeting adjourned at 8:33. Thank you for coming tonight. We still have some weather coming through, so be careful.